Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to today's episode of SCC Gyms. I'm Jonathan Micallef with Joel Rasmussen, and this is Combat One MMA.
The man does his own intros. I'm here with one of the quickest, hottest rising stars in the UFC, the captain, Jonathan Micallef. Perfect intro there. The door began to open as you did it as well. That was very impressive.
Yes.
We are here at the new Combat One.
Yeah.
This is not the old Combat One, a recent move. You've been very nice enough to let me come on in. And let's just do that. Let's just head into the gym. You're going to take us through the facilities.
Come on in, guys. So we've been here for 3 weeks now.
Do not try to break in. There are surveillance cameras in here.
Yes, yeah. If you do, there will probably be some MMA fighters ready for you.
Oh, my hand, it's a nice clean environment. I want to make sure it all...
It's not lube, Joel.
Lubing
Yeah,
up.
welcome in, guys. This is the reception. Obviously, we have all our stock and stuff. And just right here, we have one of our most prized possessions, figurines of 2 of the best fighters out of Combat One. There are still more to come, but...
I like the love heart base. Why the love heart base?
Because I'm a lover and a fighter.
I asked you that.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I asked you that. I think that was one of the first things I ever spoke to you about when I first did an interview at the old Combat One. You didn't have this made. This was made by someone.
Yeah,
like you didn't know this was coming, right?
Yeah, that was a gift from a head coach. So that was when I won my first pro title at a festival hall for Hex. It was a very good day for us. And this is Sammy when he was also gifted this when he won his Gold Rush pro title. I forget against who, but yeah, it's cool. So awesome, man. Like, it's, you know, just a little glimpse into our history and a great memory that we still hold.
I forget about that fight was at Festival Hall. Because that was like the one time that venue got ran. It's way bigger than I think any other venue I've ever been in for like regional fights.
Yeah.
Was it like hectic to be just being in that building? Like, was that like nuts?
It was hectic. Honestly, when I first walked in, like we got to the venue, it was empty. And for me, it was just like, whoa. It wasn't even like whoa as in like, oh, pressure. It was like, this is fucking so awesome. I'm so lucky to be able to fight here. Especially now looking back on it, it hasn't happened since. And there's been like, you know, so many like massive fights that have happened there. There's so much history in the building. And I'm now part of that, you know, that's a part of my story. So it's fantastic. I'm so privileged to have been able to fight there.
Do you feel like that fight kind of is the one that maybe, I don't want to use the phrase broke through because it's not the last fight before making the UFC, but like, you know, we don't need to rehash the history, but you know, there was a lot of like, you were the new kid on the block type beat. Do you think like that was the fight that really put you like on the map?
Yeah, that was the fight for me where people were like, this kid actually is as good as he believes he is, you know, because everyone doubted me. I mean, it was across the board. Joey, the veteran, he'd fought, you know, all these people who've been out at one. He'd been doing it all his life, been down to Thailand, this and that. And it was just like this kid who's been training for like 5 years and went out and put an absolute clinic. And I showed to everyone that, yeah, I can do this for 5 rounds and I also have the skills to prove it. So it was my breakout fight for sure.
We've got some photos of Sammy doing some work. And then do we know what wraps these are? I'm assuming they're not yours. I'd assume they're Sammy's based on the photos.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that he used when he won the Gold Rush.
Dude, the pristine, dude.
Yeah.
The pristine, well, there is a hole. That's aerated. There's definitely some sort of fungus growing in there. We've got a good game of chess going on over here. I feel like it's not uncommon to see.
This is Alan, one of our coaches down at Combat One, and his brother Dylan, one of the young rising prospects. Are
you a big chess guy?
Am I?
Yeah, you're a big chess guy?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I've got a big chest, but I'm not good at chess.
You do have a big chest. You are a freakishly big.
Yeah, no, I'm not good at chess.
Do you ever play it?
I don't.
I approach chess in the same way I approach rolling, which, as you have been the first-hand recipient of, not a lot of plan goes into it. It's a lot of flowing. So when I play someone, like I played my mate Ben, and he I would describe his chest style as like aggressive. He comes out, he's like bam, 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 and I'm like, bro, you're sweating chest. I was like, I'm not coming in with any sort of game plan. I just want to flow through the chessboard. That's how I approach it.
I'm more of a checkers kind of guy, man.
Yeah, everyone else is playing chess while you're playing checkers, dude. Everyone overthinks everything. I don't want to like put them on blast and put them on camera and be like, the sweat starts where they're like, oh, who's gonna, oh, dude, with the bathrooms through here, the great bathrooms of Combat One.
Yes, there's plenty of room for fun activities in these bathrooms.
Yeah.
There's just a standard bathroom, not much going on there.
That's where the magic happens.
We have
memorabilia.
Memorabilia of the Four Kings. If you don't know about it, some of the golden era of middleweight, welterweight boxing.
You a big boxing guy? I'm personally not.
I'm not really, but I think that now, like looking back into it and seeing some of the things that the greats like these guys have done, and just seeing things that they do and trying to implement that, even if it's just like how they approach training and fighting, and it was pretty awesome just to look back on stuff. Very, very cool. Yeah. But yeah, I've always just been obviously massive on MMA, but more so recently sort of turned into boxing.
No shoes on the mat. I will take my shoes off.
Thank you, very respectful.
I try to be as respectful as I can be.
Striking / boxing area. We've got plenty of bags, plenty of space. We've also got full-size ring.
I saw you hanging out with the wife and the kids today.
Yeah. I went for a bit of a walk this morning. Got the little one, pushed him on the swing a little bit, and he was just exploring his way through the park. It was really nice. He's starting to walk when he's assisted, so it's like something new for us as parents. Like, you know, he's walking around, and it's just so cool seeing him develop. It's incredible. He's 1
I was gonna say he's
2 weeks.
Nearly 1, right? Just about to turn 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, me, I have no clue, like, what any of that's like. Could not tell you what stage, like, a 1-year-old. A 1-year-old's, like, into stuff? Like, does he like things, or is it too young yet?
Sort of.
You like what I say you like?
Yeah, definitely. He likes banging things for now, you know. It's
That's
not
cool.
quite, like,
Drummer
massive interest, but he loves Elmo. So
Elmo's still big.
Yeah,
dude.
It is crazy.
Elmo's still big. I always liked, from Sesame Street, Big Bird.
Okay.
Because that's what he is. That's Big Bird. What is he? He's a big bird.
Yeah.
Like, is Elmo an Elmo? I don't know if Elmo's an Elmo, but Big Bird is a big bird. I like how simple the naming scheme was.
Yeah, the Cookie Monster's my guy.
Dude.
When I'm like deep in camp, I become that. Like, you know, you see it, a cookie, food, you know? Yeah, feed me. Yeah, definitely.
Have you caught yourself, like, have you ever had that moment where, because I've heard about a fighter who during camp and during weight will go and just open the fridge and just look at the fridge. Like, you can't eat any of it, but he'll just look, and he'll be like, looking at it makes me feel better.
Yeah, I do. You know what? In fight week, there's been times where I've sort of just like gone for, I needed to get chicken breast or something, and I will just go down the aisles and have a look and see what snacks and stuff there are. And it's sort of like, my Instagram reels deep in camp would start to turn into just people eating food and doing mukbangs, because I just like to see it, and it sort of makes me feel like, oh yeah, I'm sort of getting it visually, but I'm not, you know, actually able to eat it.
Yeah.
But that sometimes is more, I like doing that more than eating myself, because I don't feel like shit afterwards.
Yeah. You go past the food aisle and you're like, soon.
Yeah.
I'm coming back for you.
But then when you get it, it's never as good as you expected it to be.
Yeah,
you know?
just like any like thing like that. Where you're like, oh, this will be great. And then you do it and you're like, that was just okay.
Yeah,
That was just all right.
Yeah.
What's the go-to post, like, weigh-in food?
Oh, I love a pasta. I pretty much, we always go down to a nice Italian place. We'll get a good pasta, get, you know, carby food. Sometimes we get a pizza and a pasta. Yeah, that's the go-to. Italian food's my thing. Especially my wife's from Italy, and she's a very good cook. So there's been times where she's made her own pasta bakes and bought them post-weigh-in, and it's just fucking fantastic, man. It doesn't get much better than that for me.
So you're a guy who you can have, like, the family around on fight day. I know a lot of people are like, I can't be near my wife and my kids because I need to they mentally they need to like go off to war type thing. You're a guy who can hang out with the fam?
I sort of do both. There's a point in time where I'm like, all right, babe, give me my space now.
Yeah.
I've got to nail in and get down to work. And I think it's different every time though. There's been times where it's like I'm a little bit more irritable, maybe feeling the pressure a little bit more. And then there are times where it's like, super chill. And I just take it as it comes, I think that for being in the UFC, having fight week away, you're not sleeping in your own bed. So that sort of gives you that anyway, you're not forcing it upon yourself. It just comes naturally where like you're away, you're in a different place. You're not sleeping in your own bed. You're with the team constantly. So you're always in that mindset of we're going to battle, I'm going to go take someone out. But I do like to have a dinner with the family post-fight, like post-weigh-in, pre-fight. And it's like a good last hoorah before I go to battle and do my thing,
A conversation I had with Sammy, talking about the tour, and the last thing you kind of pointed out to us, we've got the ring here and the cage here. A conversation I had with Sammy when you guys were moving out of the old place, the last time I stepped foot in the old gym, it was something that I never even, it never crossed my mind until he pointed it out, that you guys didn't have a ring or a cage.
Yeah.
It's like we're standing in the gym and I'm like, oh yeah, there's no cage here. Like it wasn't even something I thought about. And he gave me his thoughts on it. But now to have a cage, is it, if you told someone off the street maybe who doesn't know, kind of the reason why we're doing something like this to give an insight into what an MMA gym is like. If you told them, hey, UFC fighter Jonathan Micallef has never really trained in a cage until he made the UFC, I bet they'd be like, that's weird. What is it now like to have the cage? Has it changed training very much? Like, how is it?
It definitely has, especially in sparring. Like, you will find that when you're out on the mats and there's 5 or 6 other groups sparring and you're bumping into each other and you can't really work your stuff that you're trying to work. When you have a cage, you're enclosed in that area and you can work your angles and a couple little, real small details that would otherwise be really difficult to work. But that being said, we've got such a good fight team where we work around that, Whoever's up next is a guy that will get the space and the time on the mats and all, obviously now in the cage, that will best be implemented for the fight, or that will, translate best to the fight. But yeah, it's something that you wouldn't really see in any other sport. Like, you would never see AFL players only ever come into an oval or they're not just kicking a footy out in the paddock. But in MMA, you'll find guys constantly just have mats. And that's what makes it so cool, where if you have a good coach, some mats and some boxing pads, you can create a world champion with just that, But I think it comes down to the team that you have around you, your coach, and your ability to sort of create little gains with what you have, and then being able to implement that when you do get to the cage is massive, yeah.
Has anyone fallen out of the ring yet?
Not yet. A few power bombs, a few
full pride.
Yeah, a few big wrestling moves. Ben Sassoli's probably slammed a bloke or two. But yeah, no one's fallen out yet, and I hope they don't. I hope it stays that way.
Are you a pride rules guy? Do you wish they had soccer kicks back?
I don't know about soccer kicks, but I feel like there are some areas where the grounded knee sort of benefits the guy who's playing that game. If you're going to sit there, dude, you got to work. You need to get out of that position. But at the same time, I think for the safety of fighters, if you're allowing soccer kicks, you can potentially finish someone's career in a minute or in a split second, really. Yeah, but that's sort of my take on it.
Talking about, sorry, just because we're standing in front of the boxing ring, it reminded me. So the new Combat One facility, obviously, huge step for the gym, huge step for a guy like yourself, huge step for a guy like Sammy Hayward.
Yeah.
But also, if not mistaken, it's the combining of two gyms. His original striking coach now runs out of here.
Yes, that's right.
So what's going on with that?
Yeah. So Tarnik Boxing, Dave was sort of looking. He's been boxing for pretty much all his life. He's been doing it for a really long time, and he's helped Sam for years. And Dave was actually one of the first coaches that I ever have hit pads with. His gym was literally just a couple streets down. And Sam basically asked him, hey, would you be interested in coming down and being a part of Combat One and run your fight team through? And Dave thought, what a great opportunity for him. So yeah, he's down, and you can see just up there the Tiny Boxing logo. That's the old logo of the gym, and their fighters have come in, and we've sort of vacated a slot for them, so they've got their own fight team space. And I think for us MMA fighters too, it's so beneficial that we can jump in and do some pure boxing with some really high level boxers and get the benefit of that. And then, you know, I think that puts it up to us to mend that into our own game. But to have that it's so valuable, man. It is really good for us.
What's it like to kind of take the tools away and only drill boxing with boxing guys?
It's difficult. And I think that, like, as an MMA fighter, it's something that you constantly have to do. You know, we'll go into jiu-jitsu gyms and just roll jiu-jitsu with really high level jiu-jitsu guys. And then you come over here and you do the same with the boxers. And it's up to sort of the MMA athlete to be able to mold all that into your own MMA game, but at the same time, not take away from their game when you are doing just their pure sport, whether that's boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai. You know, they have their own nuance and really like subtle differences. And some, if you can implement them well, are so beneficial, and they can really take you really far in your sport, in MMA. But I think that there are also places where you can get lost, and you start to do those things and implement the wrong techniques and stuff that it can go both ways, you know. So I think that's up to the athlete, and that's the main thing. You have to be able to mold it. Yeah. And I think Ilya Topuria is a great example of someone who trains his pure boxing, trains his pure wrestling, trains pure jiu-jitsu, and then he said it's up to you to mold it all together and to put it in. And I think that there's sort of like a little bit of the secret sauce as to why he is so good in those areas.
We're MMA guys. You know, you talked about it before, you know, you have a tremendous respect for the boxing, but you are an MMA guy at heart. I'm the same. You know, I got into combat sports through MMA. Anytime I watch boxing, I always think, throw the leg kick. Like, just when they're standing at range, I just go, the leg kick, throw the leg kick. During boxing sparring, have you accidentally just blown someone's leg off?
No,
I
haven't.
Yeah! It's the big Jonathan Micallef leg kick.
It's more when they do the inside fighting game and they want to come in close. It's more like I'll clinch and grab in places where it's sort of like against the rules, you know, and it's like, oh, sorry, you're not allowed to grab a collar tie and turn them, but it's sort of so ingrained in the way that I move and my movement patterns that it's hard not to, but you learn. And, you know, I think that it's for me, it's not a bad thing that I'm doing that, because that means that my reactions they are how they should, because that range does not exist in MMA. If you go there and you try and put your head on someone's chest, they're going to clinch you. They're probably going to knee you in the face. So, like same as I said before, it's another thing that just makes it so difficult for MMA fighters training with guys who are in that pure sport of boxing or whatever it is.
We've talked about the pure striking aspects. We were in the striking area. We're sitting on the Muay Thai / boxing ring. But the last area of the gym, over here to our left, seems to be more of the grappling focused area. Nice big bit of mat space now. How does this, you know, I'm not going to expect you to pull out the legit, like, here's the blueprints, you know, and I'm not going to ask for literal, like, if you know what the mat space is, but how does this compare to the old space? This feels way bigger.
Yeah, this is much, much bigger. This is pretty much the whole gym mat space and some that we had. So we had an upstairs and a downstairs, and that's pretty much both of those combined and some. I think it's about 16 meters by 9 meters and then a little bit more here. It's awesome. Like the main difference obviously is that we have the cage too. So if we feel that we have classes that are too tight, it's like, mate, just go in the cage and you can get another whole couple groups in there. It's awesome. And also, like, with the gym as it's growing, we needed it because we're just constantly growing, and we have so much interest from fighters and from hobbyists and people that are just trying to get into MMA and, you know, love the sport just like we do. And it's hard to do if you don't have the space.
We've talked before about the day job, what it was before, like, fighting became the day job. What was it again?
I was doing bathroom and kitchen renovations with my dad. And then I sort of moved off into labouring with a couple of the concreters. Pretty much just a tradesman all around. I can pretty much do everything, man.
Did Sammy call you up and was like, we are building a new space. Dust off the old tools, Jono. We need you to paint a wall. How was the actual building of this place?
Yeah, well, we are very lucky where as I said, we have a lot of hobbyists and guys that are just interested in the sport and love it. And there are so many people that helped so much. We have painters that came and they pretty much do commercial painting, and they did a lot of that. I myself did a bit of the tiling in the bathroom. We had some plumbers come in and install some toilets. We had electricians and sparkies come in and install these lights. It really did take a village, and the village came. There was so many people that helped out, and
the lights are really nice.
Yeah,
they are like a really nice touch. I do like that. I do really like them.
Yeah.
So the great Combat One bathrooms that we walked past before, where the magic happens, people can go in there and they'll be like, dude, this is where Jono fucking, I laid this place brick by brick. I built this place brick by brick.
Yeah.
You've had some very high level people come in and do some training. I was here on the open day. Bro, you had me on the mats. Bro, how did I go? How was our role?
You did very well, Joel. You've been interviewing me for a long time, and that was sort of me coming into your world, and then you came into my world, and you impressed me quite well. Yeah, your heel hooking abilities is very good.
I'm gonna be like Steven Seagal. We're like, oh yes, we worked over that with Jono. I am sensei, bro. I'll be like, student Jono, go son, and then you're gonna hit a heel hook, and I'm gonna be like, I taught him that. I taught him everything I know. I'm happy. I'm happy to. If any way I can give back. But you've had the open day went very well. There's a whole vlog on the Combat One channel that came out. There was, outside of myself, there was some actually very accomplished people, both that are a staple of Combat One and people who came down. Duke Didier came down for the open day. Some people got some belts. How was that kind of like opening day?
It was awesome. It was really good, especially for me, just to see how many the families and stuff of the guys that we see every day come through, and the wives, and just to see like the community come together. Like Combat One, it's an MMA gym. We have a solid fight team, but outside of all that, we have a really good community of just everyday people who have families, and it's like really good for us holistically, like in an intrinsic way, where like we come here, we train hard, we sweat, but then afterwards it's like we're all a family, we're a community,
How did Ben Sassoli only just get his blue belt?
That is a question that I will never be able to answer.
He was in the UFC as a white belt. There's hope for all of us. Me looking at my hands, maybe I can make it.
Look, he is blessed and gifted with power, and also he's a very powerful but also very technical heavyweight, which you don't see much. You see, usually the powerful ones aren't quite as technical and don't move as well, but Ben's been able to mesh those both together. But he's not a blue belt. He's definitely at least a brown belt, but he's got to sandbag a little bit, you know what I mean? So
the open day was rolling, and then at the end, like everyone got their belts, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Where everyone stood up and they're like, all right, we're going to do it by like group, and it was I think it was people who were going from purple to brown went up first, people who were going to blue to purple, and then people who were going white to blue, I think.
Correct.
Or it might have been the other way around.
The other way around.
It was the other way around? Okay. When they were like white belts to get up and Ben got up, I'm like, classic Ben. Classic funny joke from Ben there, taking the piss. Very funny, Ben. All right, you can sit down now. And then he didn't sit down, and I was like, all right, he's like committing to the
genuinely
bit. And then he got his blue belt. And I was like, what? That's so funny to me. How was, dude, you were leading the charge on that. You were bullying some people on the mats. When everyone went off to do their own rolling, and you were like, I'm coming for you.
Dude, I had receipts from when I got my brown belt, and I still remember that day. It was rough. I got absolutely pushed. Because I'm very fit, and I think we were on for like 45 minutes, and we were probably half an hour in, and they're like, oh, Jono's still not tired. Let's get him. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm remembering all of this. I'm going to remember this because, you got to get you guys back somehow, and grading is when you're going to get back. But it's all fun and games. Yeah, we love it. Everyone's there having a good time. And although in the middle of it, when you're pushing them and there's 2-on-1 and guys are getting subbed and they're tired, it's hard, but afterwards, we'll kick back, have a drink, and have a laugh about it, because that's what it's all about.
It was like that scene from like the D-Day scene from Saving Private Ryan, where you're like looking around, there's just like carnage everywhere. It's like ears ringing. Oh my God, there's just bodies everywhere. Yeah. But we've done the tour. This is the space. There is an upstairs. What's upstairs?
Upstairs, there's a shower up there, and we're going to just have like a bit of a chill out area, but there's not really much, just an empty space at the moment.
Well, that will obviously get developed. But obviously the names we're talking about and the people, watching this, there's going to be a mix of people watching this who are watching this for UFC fighter Jonathan Micallef, and there's people who are interested in Combat One. Mm-hmm. And you kind of mentioned that there, where it's like you've got a lot of high level people on the mat, and there's a good fight team, but there is that kind of general hobbyist or just someone who enjoys training.
Yeah.
How do people get involved? How does the average person who's watching this, they want to come train?
Yeah, well, if any of you guys are interested in coming down, honestly, just come through the doors, come in with a good attitude, and we'll be accommodating guys. Like, as Joel said, we have guys from very beginner who've only ever started doing their first class to guys in the UFC and all in between. So there aren't obviously like no pressures to fight or anything. If you want to fight, by all means. But if you do want to fight, that definitely changes the level of expectation from you. And if you just want to get fit and learn how to defend yourself, then we expect something different from people like that too. So yeah, we also have our conditioning area, which we didn't touch on. There's just some kettlebells. We also have our trophy cabinet, where we have a few of my amateur belts. We have Alan's amateur belt with the coach. My professional hex belt, Ben Sassoli's professional belt from Duke Didier's Dynasty of Combat. Yeah.
No, Aaron Marshall's.
Aaron Marshall's
keeping that at home.
Yeah. He's still polishing that one up. He just won that on the weekend in a fantastic performance. He did really, really well. Won his flyweight belt on path to Hex, and he's going to look to, or road to Hex, sorry. And he's going to look to go pro soon, but that will be added to the cabinet once he's done showing it off to all his family and friends.
Dude, the turnout that guy had when I was leaving, it's like he had a line of people there waiting to take photos with him after. I was blown away.
I now don't get that.
I know,
I don't get that type of thing now, so it's impressive. But that's just the kind of guy he is. He's such a loving, kind dude, and like you almost don't expect him to be such a vicious fighter, but he is. And I think that's what people really love, that you can be that guy that's cool and chill, but also when you get in there, you're an animal. I think that's very much like myself.
Well, one of the favorite things I remember you and I ever just mentioned in passing when I saw you wasn't the most recent Road to Hex, it was like 2 or 3 ago. Half the gym showed up. Mm-hmm. And I literally said, guys, it's amateur. We don't need half the gym. And as you walk past me, you're like, so many people don't show up to support me and I'm in the UFC, dude. Like half the gym was out the back, like warming everyone up, which I just think is hilarious.
Yeah. And it comes back to what I said before, like we're such a community that when there's one in, we're all in, and we're there to help. And I think that's part of our success, where it's like the next guy up, everyone falls in line and comes together to help that guy get into the cage and be his best self. Because without that, then I wouldn't have the success, and you wouldn't see anyone down the line have the success that they've had either. So yeah, man.
I've got my hands on, training could be a fun thing. Come have a laugh, but also lock in and, do well and, achieve belts and things. I have got my hands on what many fighters consider to be the most heinous, devil-sent piece of equipment that has ever graced the earth. Yes. The assault bike.
Yes.
People hate this thing. When I ask fighters if there's one thing they could remove from training, what would it be? 9 times out of 10, it's the assault bike. Yeah. How do you feel about the assault bike?
I agree. I agree that it is definitely a love-hate relationship. And the hate being, I hate to do it, but I love the results it lets me get. So it's one of them things where it's like, yeah, I hate it, but when I get in the cage, I know that I've done my hard rounds on this and that my gas tank's good to go. So it's sort of like, yeah, I hate it, but I would also hate to be in the cage and not be fit. So it's sort of like, you got to love it for that.
We've done a walkthrough of the gym. There are some lovely couches that I think we'll sit on if we can and just conclude our interview. We're on the lovely couches here at Combat One.
Yes, the old casting couch of Combat One.
Yes.
Yes, we have some memories to make happen on these couches.
There's already some stains.
These are secondhand, so I don't know if these are from us. But we got them cleaned, but obviously the
Not
stains
enough.
had their own ideas. Yeah.
This has been a fun, a cool insight into the gym. We've mentioned it throughout the interview. Work and play, a fun environment. But you are a man who has work to do. You are a man who is fighting Oban Elliot in your second UFC fight. Tell me, how did the Oban matchup come, and what do you think of Oban Elliot?
Yeah, well, pretty much I've been looking for a fight for the last 6 months. I mean, I hurt myself a little bit after my last fight, but since then, probably 3 to 4 months ago, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's get something worked out. And then UFC were trying and just couldn't work out a fight to happen. And about 6 weeks out from fight day, that name came forward, and it was an immediate yes. I mean, I've never said no to a fight, and I'm not going to start now, especially at the highest level. So I'll just get rid of this. I'll just throw it over there.
Good shot.
Good shot. So the fight came up to about 6 weeks ago. Oban Elliot was the name that they gave me, and it was an immediate yes, especially it was for Perth. So it's like, what a good opportunity to fight in my own country, save us from having to fly all the way out. And then I started to dive a little bit deeper into Oban. It was already a name that's been sort of floated around, and I have been looking at for a guy that's, 3 or 4 fights into the UFC. He's a good name. In my opinion, he does everything very well. He's not A+ in any area, but he's A in every area, if that makes sense. So he poses a lot of challenges, and there are a lot of things that I need to be cautious of. But I also think stylistically, this is a really good matchup for myself. Also for my brand, it's a good name. So I've just got to go out there, do my thing, take him out, and just keep tipping to the top, I guess.
Talking about the brand thing and kind of the stock as a fighter, I feel like the 2 names now that the UFC have given you, Kevin Jousset and now Oban Elliot, do you feel the UFC's kind of setting you up to fight names and build that brand, as we were kind of talking about?
100%. If you look at how the UFC run, they're always trying to build fighter in the best way they think possible. And we said, like, guys, I think I can be a world champion. I will be a world champion, and this is how you build me up to be that way. You put me up against tough guys, and those tough guys are going to pull the best out of me, and secondly, build me up to be and to show that I am of that level. If I'm out there fighting bums for my first 4 or 5 fights, yes, I've had 4 or 5 fights, but I haven't really progressed much because I'm just taking out dudes who don't really hold much value. Whereas if you got me for my first 3 or 4 fights fighting guys that are stacking up to be big names, super competitive fighters, and still doing really well, which I know I will do, then that just goes to show what level I'm at, and also will pull the best out of me. I think that the tougher the opponent, the better the performance you're going to get from me, without a doubt.
Oban's a guy who I wouldn't describe him as like mean or rude or anything like that, but he likes to put on a show. He likes to talk a little bit of shit. Have you experienced any of that yet, or are you like mentally preparing yourself to be like, when I see this guy, he will probably talk some shit to me?
Yeah. I haven't experienced anything. There's been no sort of communication between the 2 camps, but I expect it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm going in trying to take money out of his hands, and he's going to try and do the same. So if he wants to talk a bit of shit and get in my face about it, that's cool. But at the end of the day, we're going to scrap regardless. So it's up to him if he wants to. You know how I approach this, man. Like, I'm pretty chill. We're going to go in there. We're going to scrap. I'm going to try and, take everything from him, basically. I'm going to try and steal his dreams, and he's going to try and do the same to me. But if he wants to talk shit beforehand, let's do it. That's cool. But that's not really how I roll.
Has he got like a fan base that perpetuates that? Have you been getting like Welsh flags in your DMs or anything? Or everyone's chill?
I haven't. But that's also probably because I don't really check many of my message requests. To be honest, Joe, I haven't got time for that, mate.
Good thing I got in before you made the UFC, so my DM still comes up at the top. I'm lucky that. I was talking to a man by the name of Colby Thickness the other week when he was in Melbourne, and we were talking about he had to deal with that when he fought Topuria's brother. There was a lot of roses coming his way. I know this question's putting you on the spot. If there was like the Micallef emoji, like if Topuria has the roses, if, you know, Matt Vale has the snake emoji on the regional scene, what would your emoji be?
It'd have to be the captain, the pilot. When you type in captain, the emoji thing, a pilot comes up, but I guess that's the closest thing to the captain. So I would say that's it. What do you think? What would it be?
Maybe
An eggplant?
It's two. It's the water and the eggplant emoji. Maybe the pirate flag, like the skull and crossbones.
Oh yeah.
I don't mind.
Get something going there.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the comment section, hopefully under, we'll be filling up with either those two.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I think the captain,
the pilot emoji.
The pilot emoji, we'll call it. Yeah.
That's the official Jonathan Micallef emoji.
Yes,
the official emoji of Jonathan Micallef is the pilot.
Yeah.
I mentioned Colby. When I spoke to Colby, you came up. Because it was something I didn't realize until backstage at Hex, you guys were talking to each other. And one of you guys brought it up. Something that I didn't realize, you guys have had a similar path and you guys have kind of walked a path together. You guys, not your debuts, but you guys early on in your careers fought on the same card a few times, at least once that I could find. And then you guys both debuted together in Sydney. And now you guys have your second fights in the UFC in Perth. He's a bantamweight out of a gym in a different state. But is there any what is that relationship like? It's like a guy, you're both young dudes, you're kind of doing it together, but not together. Like, what is the relationship like with a guy like Colby?
Yeah, I sort of, it would have been at Hex when we fought together when I first bumped into him, and it was sort of like just the two guys kind of doing their own thing. We're a very similar age, we've got a very similar mindset. That constant grind, trying to obviously get better. I think the difference between the two of us is probably that I started MMA a little bit later and he's a little bit more into, he started when he was quite young. But we're both doing the same thing, and I think that's why we can connect quite well with each other, because at the end of the day, we understand each other on a level that most people don't understand, that we share, Yeah, super cool guy. And actually, when I was training down in Sydney with Rob, I just went by Wollongong. I went down there for a fish, and I went to the fights were on, so I thought I'd pop down and watch the fights at their local, and I bumped into him, and it was just like, well, how about that? Sometimes the stars align, and we've been matched on now 2 fights, 2 of the same fight nights, fighting very close to each other, and then we just bump into each other. It's pretty cool to see guys of a very similar mindset in a very similar place in their life that you connect with. But I would definitely love to head down to freestyle and train down there sometime, but when the time comes, it'll be the right time.
I'm sure it must be a very interesting thing. We've talked about, I think every interview this comes up, so the bingo card for the people at home who are like, when's Joel going to bring this up? The captain, that moniker, you are the first man out of Combat One to make the UFC. So you mentioned there, with Colby, very few people get to understand what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's cool to have a guy who is walking similar steps to you when you're doing something that is kind of your own path. There is someone that you can kind of be like, hey man, when you did the photos, what was it like for you? Even little stuff like that, these little experiences,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a question there.
There isn't, but I get what you're coming to.
Yeah, what I'm trying to talk about.
Yeah. I don't know how to answer that.
That's totally fine.
But it is cool, especially you said, first fighter out of Combat One to make it to the UFC. I think I'm the first fighter out of the Western suburbs and Werribee to do that. So for me, I hold that very very dear to me, But I think that because from the outside looking in, you see this, oh, he's a star, you know, he's this and that, he's a UFC fighter, but the way that Colby and I look at it is just like, no, man, we've just been grinding for years and we haven't gotten any sort of like value. We've got a lot of value intrinsically, but in terms of being able to pay the bills and stuff, it's something that's hard, and he understands it like that, like I do, because we're in the same spot there. You know, we're still living day by day. We're just putting food on the table. We're not living these lavish lives that a lot of people think we are, and that's the connection and understanding that we have that most people don't, and they just expect that he's a superstar. You know, he's famous, but it's not really the case.
That was something we were kind of talking about before we started the tour. I'm not sure if it ended up getting recorded while we were just kind of chatting with each other. But how I've now been around you at shows where I've seen you get stopped. I've seen people come up and take photos now. How is it now kind of being Jonathan Micallef, UFC fighter, not just like Jonathan Micallef, I train, I live my life. Like you are now a little bit, in certain ways, you are kind of bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
In a way. How has that been?
It was a very bizarre thing to get used to, especially like people say, oh, you know, like you've inspired me to do this and to make my life better. And I think that right there is what gives you the most like sort of value. And it's like, wow, people look up to me, and it really forces me to be a better myself, like to be better in all things I do in life, because people are looking up to me and they are sometimes using me as an example of why they did certain things. And that pushes me to be better, and it pushes me to try harder. As hard as I'm already trying, it just gives me that extra little edge, that extra gear that you got to find to be a better person, to help people who things didn't quite work out for, you know. I think that's intrinsically so valuable, you know, to actually help people in their everyday lives, guys that are just doing their normal 9 to 5.
You mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Colby, but you took a trip to New South Wales to train with the great Rob Whittaker. Great Jimmy Crute came along with you. That's a guy I know you've mixed it up with many a time.
Yeah.
But how was it training with the great Bobby Nux?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really good. First, it was very much like I had a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, man, what do these guys want me to train with them? But then very, very quickly I found that, like, yeah, they are, like, I am right at this level for these guys, you know, like this is where I'm at in terms of levels. Obviously, there are things that they do really well and much better, and stuff that I've learnt from them that I've started to implement to my own game. But at the same time, I'm getting like a lot of the stuff I already do is right at that level, and it's really good for my confidence, but also just to know that we are doing the right thing. This little gym out here, well, it was a little gym. Obviously, we're in a bigger space now, but the little gym that we came from, what we're doing in there was what the world champions are doing, and what legends like Rob, who's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame, are doing. And that's just like a thing that you got to reiterate to yourself. It's like, just keep doing what you're doing and you're going to get there, you know? And yeah, it was a big motivator.
This is a conversation. Jono, I thank you so much for the time. This is the last question from me, something I know people had been burning to know about. You cut the hair.
I did.
The hair used to be longer, and now it's short. What happened? What happened to long hair Jono?
Yeah, honestly, man, it just got the better of me. Don't get me wrong, I loved my long hair. It was really good, but when you're washing it every single day, multiple times a day, it does start to get the better of you. And I'm gonna miss not having braids for my fight, because that is probably one of the main reasons why I like to have the long hair. It was a part of my persona, my fight look. But at the end of the day, braids, no braids, when you see Jono, you're going to see me go out there and put on a fucking stellar performance. So the braids are gone, will be gone, the long hair is gone, but you're still going to see the same from me.
How nice has it been in training? Are you not having like people post out and accidentally like trap your hair underneath you? You're like, I just ripped out a chunk of my own hair.
Yeah, it is day and night. It is so much better. Yeah, it's awesome.
Jonathan Micallef, I thank you so much for the time. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me come into the gym. between now and fight day, what does the last 3 weeks at the time of recording, what does it look like for you?
Yeah, we've got probably another 2 weeks of hard training, and then now we sort of still, like, the fitness is there. Now we just start to tune into the finer details and the things that we are definitely going to be doing in the fight. And yeah, then we let the chips fall where they may, and we go on to the next.
Jonathan Micallef, I will see you in Perth. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for your time, brother. I appreciate it.